In this video, I want to go over ripping winning elements from the spy tools from what we've seen other people already have success with. Now, this is the quickest and easiest way to get a campaign up and running. You could literally just go out there, go to the spy tool, find the images that seem to be doing the best, take them, take the headlines, take the landing page, add it to your campaign, and then set it off going. I don't think that's the way you should do it, because that's what a lot of people try and they fail just by doing that. Because if someone else is already doing all of that, they might be able to bid higher than you. They've already got the placements all locked in and the whitelist, which I'm going to go into more detail when we're actually setting up the campaign. So don't think just by ripping what everyone else is doing, you're going to have success. But it's important, I think, to still rip what's already working, to add it into your campaign, to use it as a control. So when we're comparing, when we add our own images and our own landing pages into that same campaign, we can see if our stuff is doing better than theirs. And if it's not, maybe you should focus more on what you've ripped. That might still work. But if your elements that you've created and you've found they're working better, then that means you can double down on that. So it's good to rip stuff, and I'm not saying don't rip anything at all, because that's important, but you should also make sure that you're adding stuff of your own and trying to change things up a bit and innovate the campaign to give yourself the biggest chance of having success. So in this video, I just want to give you an overview of how we rip things, and just to walk you through the whole process, including images, headlines, and how we actually rip landing pages and add them into our landing page builder as well. So what you would do is you come to Adplexity, the spy tool, which you should already be familiar with now if you've been looking on here for products. And it's pretty self-explanatory, this, but I'll just walk you through the process anyway. And basically, you would have a product already in mind. So let's just say for this example, we're going to go for this Sonus Complete one, the tinnitus product. And we can get the URL for that just as before. We come to Advertiser, and then we can paste it in here and click on all of the above, and then we just want to search all of the adverts that are running to that product. And now what we can see is we can see lots of other people's images, creatives. I call them creatives sometimes, or images. If I'm ever interchanging that, they both mean the same thing. It just means images. This one obviously doesn't look right because that's a foot cream, but maybe someone's just chancing it. Oh no, it says fungus. So sometimes they might have things messed up, but you can see here the majority of these products are going to this tinnitus product. They're all about ears ringing. So you kind of want to make sure you're choosing images that have been running for quite a little bit of time to make sure it is successful, because a lot of people just try things out and they fail. So you could do it this way by finding out the products that have been running for more than 20 days in the last month as before, and this can kind of give you an idea of newer images that are doing well at the moment. So this image, I've seen this quite a while, but that always seems to do quite well. This image is a fairly new one, I think, but I've seen pop up recently when I've been doing a bit of research, so maybe that is a newer image that might be a good one to go with. So you just click on this, and then you can see here, just by looking at this trend, that this image is doing well. I think on a different one when we searched it the other day, it wasn't doing as well, but this is actually doing well here. So someone is starting to upscale this specific image with this specific headline. So from this bit of research, you can say, well, this looks like it might be a winning image at this moment in time. And images do have image burnout as well. Like if you run it for quite a long time to the same audience, the same news websites, it will start to have burnout and it won't be as successful. So just by copying someone's winning image, you're not going to guarantee to be successful, but it just gives us a good idea. So if you think you want to go for this image, it's really easy. You just right click on it, I do anyway, and search Google for image. And then it will search Google for this image, and you can see it popping up down here. So then we can get a copy of that image by clicking on it, and usually you can get a bigger version of it. This just seems like a tiny little version, but I usually try and find a larger image. It's not actually coming up here. Let's try and see page 2. Yeah, so they're not that, this one's a little bit bigger, but it's got the text at the bottom. So have a look on Google to try and find the highest resolution of that image. This doesn't look that great either. But I'll just right click on that, save image as, and then I'll crop out that little bit later on. But then I would just save it into a folder on your desktop, just called like native images, and the campaign name. I just created this just before, and then I'll just save it in there. And you want to kind of have a little look around and try and find different images that seem to be doing well for other people. Now, we might not test them all at once when you're first starting out, but it's always good to have a little bank so you can kind of switch them out later on when we're optimizing and testing things. So we just come back here and we want to find another image. You might go for this image, or what you also could do if you maybe want to go, that's more of a newer image that seems to be doing quite well within the last 20 days. Maybe you want to go and find one that's been running the longest, and grab an image. So this one says it's been running, let's change this to 2019 and click apply. So this has been running the longest within the last year, and we can maybe find an older, more established image. It might have burnt out by now, but it's always good just to add that in at the start to compare it against our images that we're going to find ourselves. So as you can see, there's some different images here. So this one has been running the longest. I think if we click on it, it did. This is the one that fizzled out and stopped doing as well. Yeah, here. So maybe not. I would probably not go for that, to be honest. But you can just have a look around and save them images into a little bank for later on. And then obviously we're going to find our own images later on. But you start to see that people try some crazy things. And you can kind of use this for inspiration as well for your images later on, because you can find your own images. And we'll go into that later on when I'm actually showing you where I actually find my own images and how I try and change them up a little bit. But you can use this as inspiration, and maybe it'll stem some other ideas for you as well. And there's some crazy images on here, because as you can see, it's all about the clickbait. It's all about getting the click in. So just a little touch on that there. So this is obviously a product that they're selling that's going to help to solve tinnitus or tinnitus. And the image that they're using is obviously quite amateur based images. They seem to work quite well. And it's someone putting something into their ear. This is what seems to be working here. This one's putting a bottle of water in his ear. This one's putting a bottle of baby lotion in his ear. And I don't know where they've got that image from. But that's almost implying it's all about getting the click from someone that's got that problem. And that's the whole goal of the image. We just want to get a click. We want to get someone clicking. And we want it to be the right person that's clicking. So this is implying a simple method to end tinnitus. And it's implying they just need to pour something in their ear, like at home. And then once they get on the landing page, that's when you would start doing the selling of the product. But at this stage, it's all about getting the click. So you don't want to go too, you want to be as clickbaity as possible with your images that you're finding, but you don't want to go too clickbaity where it's totally unrelated. So that is quite clickbaity. It's still related because it's an ear, but like, say for instance, like this one, that's probably a different product. But putting that image up might be a little bit too clickbaity or too out there, too abstract, because it's not totally related. So you still want to try and keep the images related, but you also want them to be like quite clickbaity and to spark curiosity and stand out amongst the crowd. So that's what you do with images, and it's the exact same process with headlines as well. So you would just literally just copy and paste. I think we have to click on it. Copy and paste a few of these headlines here and just paste them into notes. So we'll go with that one. I mean, that's fizzled out, so I probably wouldn't choose that one, to be honest. But I'd probably go to newest. And there's no rules about this. It's just you want to try and find a headline which is currently working and it's doing well for other people. That's the goal. So I probably would go to newest and go top 20 days, and then it's pretty much the same headline anyway. So this is this one here. Let's see how well this has been doing. So this one's doing fairly okay, and it's just simple method, ends tinnitus, ear ringing, it's genius. And it's very similar, as you can see. Simple method. So they've obviously, someone's copied someone else and then they've just made a little bit of a tweak to it, and that's kind of what's working well. But this is why it's good to create your own, because a lot of people, because they're lazy, they will just keep copying what someone else is doing. But if you do that brainstorming that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on, and try and find different angles of your own and create your own, you might be able to knock these two out of the park and actually find an even better headline and an even better image, and crush everyone else, crush all the competitors, because they're all just copying each other. So that's why it's good to have both sides of it. So I'd copy a few of them into a little notepad for now. And then we need to move on to the landing pages. So again, the same process is you want to find a landing page which is doing well for other people and it seems to be on an upwards trend, and this one seems all right. It's been running for 21 days. It was last seen on the 17th of the 11th, and today's the 17th of the 11th. So I'm thinking this seems like a landing page which is currently working well. So then you would just click on that, check it out. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they try blocking people from seeing their landing pages, but most of the time you should be able to see it. And this is a very popular style landing page which works well with VSLs. And it looks a little bit like a Facebook style post where it's got someone posting it 7 hours ago with this many views, and it's implying it's like a video, I think. And it says, do this tonight to make earring tinnitus disappear, watch. And then there's a little bit of text here and then a button. So I would definitely add that into the mix, and I want to add that into my campaign if I want to test this offer. So the way that you do that is you just come back to your Adplexity, and if you've got LanderLab, if you just click show more, you can just import it directly into LanderLab by clicking this button here. And if you've got LanderLab logged in behind the scenes, it will import it. If you're not using LanderLab for whatever reason, you can download the landing page as a zip and upload it to your own hosting if you're using your own hosting, or you can upload it to a different program like Landerbolt. Or with Landerbolt, you can actually just copy the URL and import it in that way as well. But that's why I think LanderLab's probably best, because it's already got the button there just to import it in. And then it should pop up just like this, and then we just want to name it. So it would be Sonus Complete is the name of the product. And then it would be like Lander Ripped 1 maybe. And then you would connect your domain, which you would have already set up by now. I'm not going to do that now, but then you click next. And then it's just skipped the step add to tracker. That's because I didn't actually add a domain into it, and you can do that later. But if you do add a domain into it, I think it moves on to the option to add it to the tracker, and you basically just click add to tracker and it will import it directly into your volume account under landing pages. So later on you can add it into your campaign, which I'll explain more about a little bit later on. So then you just go to landing pages. And then you go to the one that you've just imported in. It won't be published yet, but you want to go to edit. And then we want to click open in editor. And then as you can see, the first thing that will pop up with LanderLab is do you want to replace the links? Because obviously this page is being used by someone else. So we want to replace their links to make sure that they're not getting commissions when we start sharing it. And we want to put our link behind that. So this is what I mentioned earlier. You want to get your click URL from volume, which you can find by clicking on the cog up here and going to tracking URLs and then click URL. And you want to copy that and you want to go back to LanderLab. And we just want to click replace with specific URL and paste it in there, and then click modify landing page. Now this click URL, when we set it up later using our tracker, it will redirect to the offer that we've chosen. So you don't need to know about that now. I'll show you how to set all that up later on inside the tracker in the next section. But that's all you need to do for now. And then you basically have this landing page yourself, and then you can click save and then click publish, and then you can grab a link to it, and it is your landing page that you can edit. If you want to edit this and change anything yourself, you can do that if you want to change the headline. But if I was just taking a ripped landing page, I would just do it as it is just to test it, and then we can actually add our own landing pages in later on. And then you would do that again with another landing page. So you try and find a different landing page that's a slightly different style maybe that's also doing well. So obviously these seem to do well, these quite basic landing pages, but maybe you want to find more of a longer advertorial style landing page that you maybe could find by keep scrolling around and import that in as well. So then you've got options for later on. So that's the process of ripping other people's campaigns. And then next we're going to go into more about actually creating your own stuff and finding your own elements that other people aren't already using.